I was hit by a bus, like literally a bus. I was crossing the street, he was turning, and he hit me. I fractured my skull in a few places, sustained a traumatic brain injury, and like a whole that kicked off a whole cycle of things. I ended up undergoing 4 neurosurgeries over the span of 18 months. It was a long, complicated process. I had a team of doctors that I was seeing for like over 2 years. It was bananas. And as you can imagine, it was the most challenging situation that I'd ever had to experience and to go through in my life. I spent one entire year between surgeries 3 and 4, where the surgery 3 was, no, I'll backtrack. So the brain injury happened after the accident. I coded. They rushed me into my first neurosurgery where they took out this piece of my skull. They put it back 3 months later. That's surgery 2. And then 3 months after that, they realized it was infected and it had to come out again. So there's nothing covering this side of my brain for 1 year before they put in my prosthesis. And there was complications, which is why that happened. That was tough. And like, we don't really realize how much our skull does for us. I couldn't lie flat, couldn't bend over. I was constantly at risk of falling. And if I fell, my brain or part of my brain was exposed. Pretty serious. And I had to navigate this. And that's when I first started learning mindfulness. And it helped me move through this in a way that like people around me couldn't believe how I did it with like my therapist is like, you did it with grace. Because of mindfulness getting me out of my head and being in this moment. And because when we're in this moment, we can pretty much do, I won't say anything, but like we can kind of almost do anything. I say that because, and like, so this is what mindfulness helped me do. But I was kind of practicing this before learning that it was called mindfulness, but I brought everything to these 5 minutes. And whenever anything challenging is put into your path, this moment helps you through it. Like focusing on these 5 minutes. Because if you think about all the things you have to do, well, that's too much. That's daunting. That's overwhelming. And like, good luck. And I say that because like my doctors were very clear that the work I was doing at the time, that was done. But I didn't know what I was going to do next. And I was awaiting multiple surgeries, as I've mentioned, right? If I was thinking about the fact that I was waiting surgery and I needed to find a whole new career path, and I had a brain injury, and I didn't really know like how it's going to be long term and what are the symptoms and the effects, and I was waiting for this year, as I mentioned, between surgeries, because this entire part of my scar had opened. And they couldn't figure out why. They still don't know. There is nothing worse than going into a doctor's office, a specialist, and hearing, I don't know what it is. What do you think it is? What now? And I heard that message either in those exact words, that was my neurosurgeon who said that, or something similar from multiple doctors in multiple specialties. They sent me to so many people to try to figure it out. We never did. It just kept happening. It happened after, like, my scar broke down after surgeries 2, which is how we found out that the bone was infected. Happened again after surgery 3, and again after surgery 4. Oh, and surgery 5 that I had was because my scar opened up again. No idea why. They operated to close it, and as you can see, there's a bandage. So potential surgery 6, that may be happening at some point. I don't know when. I don't know when. Is because after the 5th surgery, they took the stitches out, and the next day it reopened. And nobody knows why. Nobody knows why. I have a hole in my head. And my surgery 5 was a year ago. So for a year, I've lived with a hole in my head. Now I say a hole in my head, I mean a hole in my scalp. But you can see my prosthesis. It's not fun. It's gross. And in a pandemic, so expert at navigating challenging moments. This woman right here. And that's why I practice and meditate and mindfulness and all the things, because if I focused on, oh my goodness, if I just focused on everything I just talked about, I don't know how I'd manage, honestly. But I don't. And mindfulness helped me to not focus on that and to focus on this moment, to be present, to be here and now in this moment, to have the courage to continue to grow and to run my own business, to put out videos. Like, I'm pretty vulnerable and I share a lot in my videos. And I'm doing all of this in a state of mind, not a state of mind, in a state, physical state, that would be so easy to be like, you know what, I'm just gonna put everything on pause. I'm just gonna shut down, right? It's easy. You can imagine that it'd be easy for me to get overwhelmed and to just, nah, not gonna. But but I don't think about all the things. I think about this thing. Like right now, I'm recording this video. I'm not thinking about editing this video, creating, graphics to go alongside it, writing whatever, posting it, sharing it, people watching it. That's my big one. That does make me nervous. The idea that people are going to watch this and see this and hear me, right? Because that taps into the shy, insecure Charlene from before. And I'm sharing pretty big things. So it's tough. But I'm not thinking about that, because if I did, I would never do this stuff. And that's why I say, like, if you're facing something difficult, and it doesn't have to be 6 surgeries, hit by a bus, traumatic brain injury. It can be, I'm changing careers, I'm moving, I need to do this, I need to, like, I'm an example I use often, because we've all had to experience this at one point or another. I've got an exam coming up. And it, like, in 6 months, I have my final exams for my course, right? We've all had exams or tests or whatever at some point or another, so we can all relate to this. Now, that can be challenging, especially if you have test anxiety. So we could spend the 6 months thinking about the exam, worrying and stressing out about it, or we could focus on this moment and what can I do today to help me prepare for that exam? I don't need to worry about this exam today. I don't need to really worry about it until, like, the night before, the day of, the moment of the test, right? And even then, like, managing how much worry we actually bring to that moment. But I don't need to really be thinking about the exam and what it's going to be like for 6 months. Right? I only need to worry about it later. Right now, I need to focus on what can I do today to help me. Which is why I'm like, I'm only focusing on recording this video, not all the things that come after it. And we do that with anything that feels overwhelming, that feels daunting, that feels too big. We break it down, focus on one thing at a time. And that's what I teach inside my programs. As I teach inside the mindfulness journey, we teach a lot to brain injury survivors. And this is what I remind them, right? It's not all the things of your recovery. It's this moment, today, now, because each moment changes. We started this morning with a migraine, took my pain meds and rested and relaxed, and I'm feeling better. And so I'm able to record this video. And if I, the start of today, I could have been like, oh, well, there goes that. Can't do this because I got a migraine, right? No, these 5 minutes, because I can do anything. I just focus on one piece at a time, when I focus on this moment. So learning how to be in the moment, learning how to be right now, to be present, to be aware. I help you to do that inside, like as part of this channel, part of the videos that I share here, and inside my free 7-day mindfulness challenge, which you can sign up for below. Because really, the mindfulness journey, my business, I created this to help people get out of their heads, to get into their lives, but also to navigate challenging moments because I know a thing or two about it. And so I share my experience, share my stories, I share the skills and the strategies that help me to help you do it for yourself. It doesn't have to be getting hit by a bus. It could be I'm terrified about presenting at this meeting coming up. What can I do? Great. Here, follow what I'm sharing inside this 7-day challenge. Using these strategies, watching these videos can help you do that. And so we're just going to breathe because I feel like I need to breathe after everything I've just talked about. So we're going to just breathe together. So I'm breathing in and out. One more. And last one, in and out. I want to thank you for coming and watching today. Until next time, bye.